saying a lot of Spurs fans are going to be disappointed when they don't win the finals. Like a Roy saying that they're going to win the finals. But personally, me, I wouldn't be. Obviously, it's going to be disappointing when they get eliminated. I think they will eventually get eliminated. But the real question is, what would you consider? What would the Spurs have to accomplish for this to be a successful season? Pretty much, is it like a second round, first round, finals, or bust? Like, in your opinion, what do you think the Spurs would have to do for this to be really a successful season? In your opinion,
Right. And honestly, okay, I do know that I have said that I think they're going to win the finals, and I still do believe that. I think the Spurs are showing it already, being beating high caliber teams, top teams, OKC, Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets, teams like that have been in the playoffs, high seed teams with their superstars, their respected superstars. I like you just said, I wouldn't be disappointed though. I really wouldn't be disappointed if they weren't to win the finals. What I would be disappointed if they are first round exits. Somehow they didn't make the playoffs. They're disappointed second seed team, or not second seed team, but a second round team. I would be happy and satisfied if they fought a hard second round series.
okay.
I would be, yeah.
What about say they fall? There's still a lot of season to play. Hypothetically,
Right.
say they fall to the fourth seed, and Nuggets
Okay.
are somehow the fifth seed. 4-5 matchup, first round. They battle the Nuggets in seven. What about that? What about a game like that? A hard fought
That's
first
yeah.
first season against a seasoned team. What about
Right.
that? Something like
A
that.
game, okay, like a series to 7 and the Nuggets win.
Yes, in the first round.
Right. Honestly, as a fan, a Spurs fan, I would be absolutely heartbroken. Um, I wouldn't call it a disappointment of a season. I truly wouldn't. I feel like they would bounce back. That's a good way to start their run. That would be heartbreaking if that were to happen. But I think they're going to keep the second seed. That is a hypothetical, crazy hypothetical. I think they're going to keep the second seed, and I will be happy if they go to the second round and maybe go into like a game 7 or game 6. And if they end up losing, okay. But who knows, man? I truly think they can win the finals. I truly do.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do have like you said, they have beat a lot of high caliber opponents.
Right.
They're growing game to game. For me personally,
Yeah, I was about to say, what about you?
like I said, I kind of view them as a Thunder the year before they won the championship. They're going to
So
be a high.
second round
Yeah,
exit.
yeah, exactly. The Thunder lost to the Mavs, I believe, in the second round. The year
Game
before they won the
6.
chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm not expecting them to make the finals. For them to have a successful season, it's them losing to a proven playoff team. That, I mean, the Lakers, Nuggets, Thunder, and that might be about it. I'd be pretty disappointed.
T-Wolves? T-Wolves?
T-Wolves as well.
They're pretty proven recently, I feel like.
Maybe definitely the first three, maybe the T-Wolves. Besides that, if they were to lose to like a Clippers, well, Clippers aren't even really in contention right now, but any of those other
Rockets, if they were to lose to the Rockets type of team.
Rockets type of team,
You wouldn't like that? If they lose to a Rockets type of team?
no, I really wouldn't either. They're a good team. They've been in
I
the
would be
playoffs.
pretty sad.
Maybe a hard fought, like a game, again, a 7-game
Yeah.
series type of deal. But I put the
Right.
Spurs and the Rockets around the same category. Obviously, the Rockets have Kevin Durant, which is a proven vet, champion. But besides that, they have a pretty young team, kind of similar to the Spurs, in my opinion. So you can maybe throw the Rockets in there, but definitely I wouldn't be disappointed if they lost to. You know what? I would be disappointed if they lost to the Lakers at this point, just because they're not doing too great, in my opinion. I believe the Spurs could take that. Really, it's my short list is probably just Thunder, Nuggets, and I think now that you mention it, maybe the Rockets would be the ones I can take an acceptable L against, in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, dude, I think it's just like really a game planning situation with these teams, these top teams in the West, I think. I feel like they all have the personnel really to compete with each other, especially the Spurs and the OKC. You see those type of personnels, physical, lengthy guards that are really able to, disrupt the perimeter and also, slash and really open up the floor with their 3-point shooting, 3-and-D guards. But I feel like, me saying that they're going to win the finals, that's just their potential. I feel like, that's what I'm thinking about their potential. I think you can think that too, right? You think that too, that,
For sure.
realistically speaking, they could, maybe win out, some playoff games. We haven't seen this specific squad in the playoffs. So, we definitely have to wait and, hold our mouths before we say anything, crazy like that, obviously. But, to be disappointed, I feel like that'd be a little OD. It's their first playoff run. I just want to see a competitive series by them, at least. Yeah.
Okay. Hypothetically, they could win the finals. Hypothetically,
Really, truly.
hypothetically, anyone can win the finals. When you put it that way, though,
Yeah,
hypothetically,
but there's some teams that are bogus, and the Spurs have beat these elite teams. OKC, come on, 3-0 in the season, and that's not no fluke. They already said it. It's not something. What did SGA say? It's not a coincidence at that point. And I
yeah.
totally agree with them. And I'm excited to see what they have to prove. I feel like they have a little chip on their shoulder. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to come down a lot to Mitch Johnson as well. It's
Yeah,
different game
like
plan
game
in the
planning.
final. The
Yeah.
intensity for the players, feeling that intensity, the different level of intensity that comes with the playoffs, as well as playing that same team back to back to back to back, up to 7 games in a row. Playing the same team, it's just a different type of
Okay.
caliber. But yeah, again, like I mentioned, for me, it'd be not disappointing to lose to those teams like the Thunder, the Nuggets, teams that have those MVP caliber type of players. And speaking of those MVP caliber type of players, I did want to move that on to our next little discussion as well. Another one's been kind of hot in the news right now, and when it comes to the minimum game rule to win awards in the NBA. So I don't know if you want to go into that, or you want to just take over on explaining that rule a little bit for the members.
Yeah, honestly, really quick, you could definitely explain that for
Yep.
the members, and then we can go into it. Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. So yeah, in the NBA recently, to kind of combat load management, which we went over, which is resting your starters before the playoffs, stuff like that. In order to combat that, they made a rule where a player has to play a minimum of 65 games in order to be contention for an award. So last year, Wemby was a clear leader for Depoy, but he ended up missing most of the second half of the season, almost all of it, pretty much all of it. So he wasn't eligible, even though he was averaging, I think, over 3 blocks a game. Same thing. I think Embiid had a pretty good season a little while back, but he only played around 50 games. And it's really prevalent right now this season. I'll set it up, and then I'll let you take over from there. But some of these usual MVPs, Jokic, as you mentioned, just got injured a little while back. I think he's the MVP frontrunner, but with this amount of time he might be out for, it might put that in jeopardy because he can only miss, I think, it's less than 20 games.
Wow.
So that's going to put into jeopardy. Besides that, Giannis is another one that's constantly in the MVP race, but he missed a lot of time as well, putting him in jeopardy. So it really only leaves SGA that might be eligible towards the end of the year. Might be a one-man race, which is never fun. And then the hypothetical comes up, what if SGA gets injured? Like, we never want it to happen, obviously. We don't like the Thunder, but you don't want to see the biggest stars get injured. Say SGA, Jokic, and Giannis all are not eligible to get MVP, which is honestly a possibility at this point of the year, barring SGA getting injured, which obviously, I said, we don't hope for. What happens then? Who is going to be the front runner? Would it be like a Jalen Brunson? What type of players would be up for that? And in your opinion, do you think that's a good rule? 65 games? Has it flopped? Did it really have the effect that maybe they wanted it to have? Should there be a change? Really, what's your opinion on that rule?
Yeah, honestly, new rule. Adam Silver cooking up some. It's an interesting rule for sure. Controversial rule. Look, I feel like it's controversial with the way that you're saying it. Some players start getting injured, and someone gets a Mickey Mouse MVP, and that's kind of crazy in my opinion. Because some Hall of Fame players can't even get an MVP. MVP is a coveted award, and all these injuries to put it off is crazy. I think if SGA does get injured, hopefully that doesn't happen. Jalen Brunson might be. That'd be crazy. A little MVP. New York would go crazy. My opinion on the whole 65 game rule, though, I feel like it's kind of Mickey. It's kind of bogus. I personally don't like it. Wemby's kind of, he's been taken out of 2 depoys already that he probably should have had on. The first one was kind of, I guess I got out-competed by Gobert. But the last one this past year, and maybe even this year, if he doesn't come back anytime soon. But that Jokic one does scare me because I feel like he's a front runner right now for MVP, I believe, right? I don't know if you know that for sure, but I'm sure he is. But yeah, that's scary. That's definitely scary, and I don't like that.
Yeah, no. I think the idea of the rule is a great thing.
Yeah,
preventing players like Embiid from being managed, not playing games. We already discussed it. We want to see the biggest players at the biggest stage on the court. But in reality, in a league where you play so many games, you play so physically, especially a lot of the better players are physical players, bigger type players like Jokic and Giannis are really the MVP frontrunners. Right. You can't. It just really doesn't work out for that. So in my opinion, I don't know. They need to change that rule. Again, I like the idea of combating load management. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't think it works, and I think they should probably get rid of that. I'm kind of saying that as a Wemby fan, as you mentioned. I think he should be like
It's
probably a
unfortunate.
two-time
No,
deploy at this point. But
yeah, I
and
understand what you're saying though. Yeah, my fault.
go ahead,
But
go ahead.
I definitely get that, and honestly, it's a good rule for load management. But unfortunately, when you see players that really deserve the award, like Wemby, and they're getting kind of hoed because they get injured, and they don't reach a certain threshold of games. It's sad to see. It's tough to see. Back really quick to that MVP talk. If all three of them get injured, I'm looking at it right now. I would take Luka Doncic if he also makes the criteria. He has 33 points per game right now, 8 rebounds, 8 assists right now, and they're honestly leading towards 9 on those 8. But I think he's honestly in jeopardy with that injury thing too, which is crazy. Honestly, injuries happen a lot. It's crazy, honestly, in the modern era at least. Maybe they're a little soft. What do you think?
Nah, come on,
I've heard
man.
some things. I've heard that. No, I've heard that though. I've truly heard that, and I
Well,
know you have too. That these play. What's up?
Look, it's modern day. Maybe they're a little softer than they were back in the day. But you already mentioned in modern day medicine, we know a lot more now than we did back then. And there's a reason why players are playing longer, like LeBron. People want to be like LeBron. Right. They don't want to have short careers. Obviously, Yao Ming's an exception because he's freaking huge. But a short career like Yao Ming, you want to extend your prime. You want to extend your playing career. It'll earn you millions if your career lasts just ever so slightly, 2-3 years.
My fault. I was about to say that too. I think it's like also a money thing. You don't want your player who's injured costing millions of dollars. Keep re-injuring. You want them to go back out fully healthy and have a healthy career. So I think it's like a business thing as well. But yeah.
Yeah, and truly at the end of the day, say you're really close to that threshold, but you really want the MVP because, like you said, it's a very coveted award. Who doesn't want to win MVP? You don't want players to be stepping out on that court not fully healthy just because they want to meet that threshold at the same time. It might be putting players in danger. And again, these are award-winning type of players. These are the top of the league. You definitely don't want to see those guys getting injured. So at the end of the day, again, I appreciate Adam Silver trying something. What's up?
Right.
What's up?
So you agree with load management?
You keep coming back to that. I don't agree with load management. I agree.
Okay, I only keep coming back to it because you at first didn't agree with it. And now it really seems like you're a big lover of load management. Personally, I kind of am too, here and there.
Look, you want your guys to be healthy. We as fans don't know how the player is feeling. I'm a big player type of guy. Players' rights. Like I said, you don't want these players getting injured. These are millions of dollars that are going to be feeding their families, their grandchildren. Like, you want to extend your career as long as you can, and you don't want to be on that court not 100%. Obviously, you're not going to be playing 100% by the end of the season, but I'm just big for players know their own health. I trust in the doctors to know their own health as well. If they're abusing it, unfortunately, nothing's perfect. There's no perfect rule. There's no perfect fix. That just might happen sometimes. So not per se load management. I'm just for people being healthy.
No, I totally get that. And honestly, I just had to press you about that really quick. But that's kind of all I had to talk about this topic. We could definitely get into the next topic if you want. I'm pulling this up really quick because what we're about to talk about kind of dives into that. But yeah.